You're listening to a hockey podcast where we talk about ice hockey and stuff. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of this hockey pod. We took a break last week, maybe the week before that too. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
it
You
was.
know, things happen. People get sick. C'est
Time
la
is
Sorry.
fleeting.
vie.
My bad.
Yeah, unfortunately, Molly is sick, and she's a trooper for even being here now. So,
Hey, coming from the bed again.
Drew. Yes. No, honestly, it's the best place to do a podcast. She's just chill. This is our little hockey community, so we're going to be real with you. We're going to try our best not to be too strict about everything, but we still have things in order. And I'm honestly going to say that's because of Jesse, right, Molly?
Oh my god, Jesse. Jesse is our savior.
I did
Yeah,
figure
yeah.
Hockey
we'd probably need
disciple.
some notes this time, right?
Yeah, we have some notes for the trade deadline.
Some
It's
notes.
a lot of notes. He went so far as to put like a giant tab to jump through the document. Yeah, there's let's see here. 32 pages worth of
Oh.
notes.
Oh my god, is that how many pages there are?
32 pages.
There's
Shit
32
me.
teams, so I guess that lines up pretty well.
Shit, you better like our podcast. You better listen to the end. I swear
Publish
to
this as a
God.
book. Jesus.
Don't make Jesse sad. He did all that work.
Look, some trade deadlines, you have maybe a few words to say, there's one or two big trades, the rest is pretty much fluff, and you go, cool, cool. Anyways, this
Right.
was pretty boring. This year was nuts, and there's so much to keep track of that, sometimes you can even forget that Patrick Kane got traded at the deadline or something like that,
I
right? You could
know. Wait,
overlook it
who?
because
Who?
so many trades have happened.
Yeah, a lot has happened. It's not your normal trade deadline day. In fact, it's a trade deadline week or a month. We don't know.
Hmm.
It's been going around.
Shit
It's a
bump.
lot. Yeah. So, without further ado, we might as well get into this since it will be probably a longer podcast, and we're gonna start immediately with the Atlantic Division.
Yeah. I'm gonna admit that I haven't been keeping up with the news, so all
Well, she's
reactions
been sick.
are genuine uh, uh me.
She'll be live reacting to some of these, so that could be fun.
Yeah, since Molly's been sick, me and Channelle are gonna get her up to date on everything.
Yeah, that's what this whole podcast is. Just telling Molly.
Speak to me. No one's spoken
So
to me in 2
McKinnon's been
weeks.
traded.
Ah,
McKinnon? Yes, McKinnon was
Yeah.
traded.
Rantanen, yep, they're all gone.
don't
Makar,
even
yep.
joke. I
In fact,
might.
I'm pretty sure they were all dismantled, like the entire team.
Yeah.
My God, the Quebec Nordiques have come back.
That's right. Have you not heard?
They're all taken in the new expansion
No.
draft.
No. Say no. Say pas no.
I
It's
don't know
would
the
it
song
be a
of Quebec,
retribution
but-
draft?
Retribution draft?
A
I'm
take
dying.
backsies draft?
Take backsies. Okay, let's start off with the Boston Bruins, okay? They were the ones that arguably, I guess if you're gonna say, I'm gonna put this in quotes, finger quotes, won the trade deadline.
Daniel, winner.
Ganya, winner, yay! She's Canadian, guys. Wow. Um, yeah, the Boston Bruins. I don't know. I've got a lot to say about this. First of all, let's just start off with the Bruins are the fastest team in the NHL history to accrue 100 points in a season. I just have to throw that into this podcast because that's insane, right?
It's nuts.
What? The fastest team to 100 points in a season. That's pretty impressive, and I mean not unbelievable considering they are first in the league right now, right?
Yeah,
Ew.
when the season started,
Ew.
we thought this team was gonna have a down year.
Yeah, we were so fucking wrong. I'm gonna eat my words right now. I'm impressed.
Ugh, Boston.
I despise it though. Like
They keep
Molly's
surpassing
in the
expectations.
background. I agree.
I say that. I admitted I was like a secret Boston fan, though.
Yeah, I love to hate them, man. I love the Bruins. If they weren't here, who would I? The Habs are old news. That rival. I think
The Habs
Bruins and
who?
Leafs. Love that. Who the
Mm.
Habs?
Yeah. So what happened with Boston? Tell me everything.
Oh
So the
God.
first trade that did happen is they acquired Garnet Hathaway and Dmitry Orlov from the Capitals, actually.
Hmm. It's a
So since they're
solid
both
bottom
going to be
six right there.
UFAs, yeah,
Well, for
for
Hathaway.
actually a few picks, the first, the third, the second, and they dumped off Craig Smith's contract, basically. I think they've been trying to get rid of that one for a bit.
Yeah.
So already, me and Channelle were talking, and we're like, "Oh, great! This is the Bruins right there." Like Garnet Hathaway is a decent bottom six forward. It's relatively tough. Orlov is a good sort of top six, top four defenseman. Again, pretty tough. It already feels like it fits the identity of the Bruins, and we figured that might just be their one move. They're already so good. You get a good defenseman, a good forward. Sure, that's probably enough. That's probably their move. But then later on, right, Channelle?
Tyler Bertuzzi?
Yeah, Tyler Bertuzzi.
Yeah, Tyler Bertuzzi is an absolute match for Boston, in my personal opinion. He's from, I'm sorry to swear so much this podcast. I apologize. Cover your innocent ears. But he is from Sudbury, and Jesse and I know Sudbury very well, so he's rapace. See? His style, his attitude, and his looks all suit the Boston Bruins. He's missing a tooth. Come on. I mean, the Bruins, that's the place to go.
The Bruins are one of those teams with a vibe, and
He's a
sometimes you
vibe.
can tell when a player fits.
Yes, and
They have a
Bertuzzi,
vibe.
he fits the vibe, guys. And he averages around 35 to 40 points per season, with the exception of last season where he did rack up 62 points. I'm wondering if the swap with Boston, if he can kind of go off of his last season and kind of pick up his average.
Yeah.
Either way, I think he'll be enjoyed by Boston and by fans for sure. He's a bruiser as well, so well, not a bruiser, but he's kind of bitchy, so I'm sure he's gonna get into some fights.
Yeah. Plus, I think they lost Taylor Hall to injury recently.
Yes.
He's on LTIR, and I don't know if he's going to be coming back in time for the playoffs or not. So
That guy, man.
Was
Injury.
literally gonna say,
Yeah.
haven't they just lost Taylor Hall onto injury?
won't
That's
matter.
the thing I know. I don't know why I got Taylor Hall as an alert for me.
You're like, come on, Taylor Hall. What about him? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Bruins gave up a bunch of picks, but they got what they wanted. They're clearly going for. I mean, you should go for it. It's quite the year. Just go for it, absolutely. And they basically gave up nothing important from their roster.
No,
Not
and
even prospects really either. It's just all picks.
I need to add really quickly that Pasta did indeed sign an 8-year contract extension worth 11.25 million. So, I mean, the wins just keep coming.
He ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, no, they're in it, guys. So I'm very curious to see how far they'll go in the playoffs, if it'll be this embarrassing fallout, or if they're going to get the cup. You know what I mean?
It can be a legacy team. This is a team I feel like is going to be strong for not just the playoffs, but potentially for next year, next season as well.
Yeah. Even in their weaker iterations in the last few years, Boston usually makes it at least past the first round.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed.
At the very
every
least.
time I'm
so
wrong.
I expect that, and then we'll see where the rest goes from there.
Yeah. All right.
Should we move on?
Yep.
Shall.
The Sabres.
Who are not sucking.
Yeah, the Sabres are in this weird position where they're actually potentially in contention for a wild card spot.
I want them in the playoffs. Buffalo for Cup.
It would be amusing. And I think their moves reflect that, where they did tweak some stuff, but nothing crazy. They add a little bit to make the team, slightly improved, but nothing so dramatic as to, give away everything, right? Which I think is probably the right call for where they're at right now.
Yeah.
The biggest acquisition they did was Jordan Greenway from the Minnesota Wild.
I'd say nothing groundbreaking,
Yeah, but he's a decent young player who's having an off year, I'd say. But I think it's a good call for them to acquire him from Minnesota because, I mean, he's cost controlled for a while. He's got a specific price tag on his contract for the next few years. And, he's on the young side. They're starting to finally improve. So I think Jordan Greenway is the right type of player to acquire at this time.
I was going to say they're good plugins,
Yeah.
It doesn't harm the team.
Nice.
The one weird thing for me is that they let Anders Bjork go for future considerations to the Chicago Blackhawks. That was a weird one to me because I remember still when he was on Boston, we were like, oh, this is a decent young player, might have a future.
Yes.
Then he got dumped in the Taylor Hall trade, and then it's like, okay, well, maybe he's worth it. And then Now he's not even cracking Buffalo's lineup, which is very strange. So yeah, well
but
maybe
he's cracking Chicago.
yeah, he told me he probably will have an opportunity in Chicago. I mean, they don't really have many players left, so
I mean, he's already played a game.
has he played a game in Chicago yet?
It's like
Yeah,
he's played a game.
he's played a
Nice.
game.
That's
Yeah,
it.
no goals,
Nothing
no
about
it.
assists.
I mean, that's the opportunity
Nothing
to
but-
do it, right? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Give him a little chance. I mean, he's still
Yeah.
kind of. I wouldn't say he's like new there. He started in 2018.
yeah, no, at this point he's past the point of being like a sure bet. And he's a
Yeah,
project. Like he'll have to
exactly.
repair his career at this point, but it's always possible. You never know. Whatever for future considerations, whatever. It's free.
Mm. I don't have much more to say about the Sabres, to be honest.
Yeah,
You talk about the Wings.
the Wings.
The Wings.
The wacky wings. Yeah, the Detroit Red Wings.
You already know they acquired Bertuzzi, right? Like they
Yeah.
dumped Bertuzzi. So what do you think of that, Molly? They got a conditional first round pick back from Boston and a 4th round pick.
They've got a lot of picks.
Yep.
They sure
can-
did.
Pick all they want in 2023, 24, 25.
Oh yes. I think it was
Like they're rebuilding or something.
again,
I
they're also
mean-
in the middle, but I feel like compared to Buffalo, they decided to give up for this year. I think they understood they're not making it, so
Yeah, they gave up because
Yeah.
they gave up for sure. They gave up Bertuzzi. They gave up Vrana, Sunvist, Yeah,
Sunfist.
these are all names I'm familiar with, so it's interesting to see him gone for a bunch of picks, but whatever.
I'm impressed that they
Yeah.
got a first and a second back for Hronek and a 4th, so I'm like, that's good asset management on their part.
Yeah.
And I still
I
don't
mean,
know
to
what's
have-
up with that whole Vrana situation.
Remind me?
Right, because like they had him on he was with the player assistance program for a
Oh, yeah.
while, finally came back, put down in the AHL, nobody claimed him on waivers. Clearly his relationship with this team was ruined, and they
Yeah.
finally just like traded him away for a nobody and a 7th round pick, and they even had to retain salary.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't
He's
know
like,
what
"Fuck,
happened there,
fuck, I'm out of Detroit."
Yeah.
right?
But it's weird because before this season, he was like a very consistent goal scorer and definitely still has potential, I think. But we'll see. I don't know what all the drama was about. It was very weird.
Watch your Blues
Yeah.
just like shove him down to the AHL now.
Oh my gosh. I am curious to see where he goes because he was decent at some point.
Yeah.
He was good for a good 4 years. So,
Yeah. Considering the Blues got rid of a lot of forwards, I wouldn't be surprised to see Vrana get a chance. Then maybe he finds his pace again.
yeah.
Hey Molly, do you want to fill us in on what Florida did at the deadline?
Like I did this week.
Nothing.
Absolutely
they-
nothing.
They
yeah,
had the
I think they were
flu.
about as busy as you were.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Mm-hmm.
tumbleweed. They're just there like,
Yeah.
cool.
They
It's
just
weird
sat
because
back.
we expected better from them this year. They're not doing better. But then are they going to try and make the playoffs? At this point, it doesn't look
Yeah.
like it. But did they sell off anything? No. So
They're like,
this
we're
is
good.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised. I'm just surprised, guys, because how do you go from like being stellar
President
last season and then like
President's
not
trophy.
Yes, President's Trophy. Hello, according to the stats, you should be winning the cup. Get your shit together.
Yeah.
They're like, no.
Almost seems like we're too shy to give up and trade away stuff, but we're also way too hesitant to buy. It would probably be irresponsible and wasteful.
Yeah,
They're
I
just,
mean to
you
be
know, going for shit right now.
they could still make the playoffs, but you'd figured they'd want to fix some things to make to kind
Yeah.
of guarantee that spot in their
I think it's
mind.
going to be an off-season thing that they're going to have to figure their stuff out.
Yeah, they will, because you got to
Yeah.
build off of what you have. Come on now.
think they're, like,
Montreal.
Committing to the
Yeah.
grind. That's what they're
Yeah.
doing.
They might be
Unlike Montreal.
stubborn. Unlike, yeah, transition smooth. See, Jesse, that's how
Sorry.
you transition.
That's how you transition. You talk over each other until the subject changes.
Basically, yeah. I can just delete you in post.
Okay.
Yeah, no one will ever know.
the whole audio track, the whole of me. It's
Get
gonna be
out.
big, 3-minute
what?
chunks of silence, and then Molly and Channelle going, yeah,
Right. Let's do a speed run of Montreal because no one cares.
Well, there's nothing really to talk about. They traded Evgeny Dodonov for Denis Guryanov.
Yeah. It is interesting to see him leave, but I mean, we knew he would leave. I'm just saying it's weird that the Dodonov is no longer a Canadian for me for some reason.
And Montreal Canadiens take a chance on Guryanov. I think that's a smart move. He's still youngish, and he'll have more time to play in Montreal's
What do you mean
lineup
that's a
than
good
he
move?
did
That's a
Dallas.
fucking terrible move. They suck with the young players. They screw them up. Anyways, let's move on.
Hopefully the new regime doesn't do that, but you know.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, talking about another team which seems to screw up players, should we talk about Ottawa?
Oh my god. Okay,
So-
Ottawa.
I know there was rumors for a long time that they'd go after Jacob Chychrun, but it was still surprising to see it actually happen considering how their season went.
Dude, Chychrun escaped from the Coyotes, right? Like, he
Oh,
requested a trade.
Bless him. It only took him 2 years.
It took him
I
2
know.
years. Literally. Bless his heart. But he was so desperate to get out of the Coyotes. He's like, yeah, let's go to Ottawa where I have to travel on horseback to get to my arena. So, you know, he was desperate.
Gotta take a plane to the arena, you know?
Plane.
Just
Fuck.
have a rabies jab.
Oh my god.
Yeah, my
I mean, you know,
goodness.
probably more likely to go on Skidoo to the arena, but the return is probably not what the Coyotes wanted in the end, but it's okay, right? Like they got a first and 2 seconds. I think for a long time they wanted like 2 firsts or first and a prospect, like any kind of valuable prospect, and all they got is picks back for it. But Ottawa is taking a risk here because the odds of them making the playoffs are pretty slim, and they gave up their first round pick for this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's top 5 protected, but that's it. The other thing for me that stood out is the cost that they had to pay to get rid of Nikita Zaitsev's contract. They gave Zaitsev a second rounder, a fourth rounder, go to Chicago, and they get nothing in return. It's just take
Future
'em.
considerations. Here
Yep.
you go. Yeah,
Yep.
fantastic.
Chicago's just like, we're gonna be good at some point, okay?
Not if you have Zaitsev. They're funny.
So yeah, it's weird. They dumped a lot of picks for a team that's probably not making the playoffs this year. But you know,
Yeah.
I guess they have the eye on next season, and you know, there's a slim chance they make the playoffs this season, but it's slim.
There's always next year.
Oh,
Isn't that their motto, like their catchphrase in Ottawa?
I think that's our. Isn't that ours? Isn't that everyone's? All right. Tampa Bay. I mean, what can you do? Well, they did lose Cal Footy and Nemesnikov.
Footy.
What is it? Not Footy?
It's
Is
foot.
it
It's just foot.
Is it
Shut
just
the front
foot?
door.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm embarrassed. It's okay.
Molly's the British one, and you're the one going around saying footy.
Footy. You know what? Leave me alone. Nemesnikov. That's all. It's interesting. But I mean, like, what are you gonna do if you're Tampa? Like, you're constantly at the top. You know, you just have tweaks.
The big swing, though, right? The big swing was nuts.
The big swing, you mean, with Cal?
Tanner Jeannot.
Yeah, and Cal.
So, what do you think of this, Molly? If somebody came up to you and said, okay, Tampa Bay acquired Tanner Jeannot from the Nashville Predators, right?
Yeah.
He's young. He can hit. He can fight. He can score. Pretty good. He's having a down year, but before that, he was pretty good, right? Got a bright future. And in exchange, Nashville obtains Cal Foote, a first-round pick, a second-round pick, a third-round pick, a fourth-round pick, and a fifth-round pick.
Conspiracy.
It's bold.
It's a conspiracy.
What, you think they're laundering picks
They're
to Nashville,
laundering
or?
picks. Yeah, I think Tampa Bay's like, yeah, we've had enough being at the top. It's your turn, Prads.
We've seen them make these kind of bold moves at the trade deadline before, and every time it was for like a middle 6 forward, and they paid a first plus, and it was always like, well, that's a lot, but every time it seemed to pay off.
I think it's something a little bit sus there. Just
Big swing.
you know, I think it's a little bit suspect. But you know, I'm not part of hockey management, so I'm not one to comment.
What do I know?
I'm just a lonely British girl.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna try to get through a next one really quick.
We're not going to be able to get through. the
Yeah,
Maple Leafs
Channelle, can you try and
quick.
get through Toronto very quickly?
We should have started. Molly. We should have written a song like of a recap for the Leafs. Ryan O'Reilly on the Leafs and Rasmussen Dean, he is leaving. That didn't rhyme. Okay, So
O'Reilly, Achari, Lafferty, McCabe, Shen, and Gustafson, Zorna.
I can't. Okay, so no one knew that that Dubas would be just fucking doing stuff left and right nonstop. It was wild. We acquired Ryan O'Reilly. That's awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
Achari, Lafferty, McCabe, shit. Come on, Luke Shen. Luke Shen, guys. It's like a teenage dream. Let's go, Luke Shen, and
Everything's
Gustafson.
retro again.
Yes, it's all. We're going back. We're going back in time. And the best part about it, in my opinion, I have to say this, okay? Shen, his number, he kept his number, even though McCabe had that number. Like, he wants that number. Or was he always that number? McCabe was 2?
Oh, I forget. But all the
Anyway.
fans can now bring out their old Luke Shen jerseys.
Exactly, because no, he kept the number, so everyone's like, yo, we have the jerseys, and that's super awesome. Now, unfortunately, we did lose Sandine. Like, I really thought he was going to be in it for the long term. I knew he was a hot trade piece, but I did think that we were going to keep him for a while, so I'm a little surprised here. But yeah, and then Engvall left. Engvall, dude, he scores every game. It sucks to see him go, but it wasn't gonna last forever, and he has, streaks. He either scores a lot and then maybe he won't later, Jesse, your turn. See, I did that fast.
Just the Leafs are going for it absolutely this year, and like as much as it's hard to see Sandine and Engvall go, I don't think it's the worst thing ever. Like I get it.
Yeah, me too.
Actually, I'm surprised that we got back Sandine. We got back a first and Gustafson, so I think that was a pretty good swap, all things considered.
We got a first. I forgot about that. We literally got a first, and we thought maybe he was going to make a move, Dubas, day of, but he didn't. He kept the first round.
The fact that we actually retained the first round pick at the end of all of this swapping, I was kind of surprised. I thought it might get flipped again to keep upgrading the team, but at the same time, there's only so many guys you can go out and get at a certain point. It was like probably unlikely to happen. So whatever.
Leafs, they do not keep first round picks. This is historical.
I will say there's always the draft. On the draft floor, when it's time to get around that time, or maybe even a day or two before, I could totally see them trading it away for something or someone.
Anyways, he's got it in his pocket, so
yeah. He had like a trade machine gun firing nonstop.
Yeah, 15. You know that goddess there that has like 18 hands? That's him there with cell phones connecting to all of his ears.
Oh Dubus, more like dubious. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that was terrible. Utterly terrible.
So all anyways, I have to add. We'll see where that goes.
So, going to the Metro, Channelle, how do you feel about the Canes?
I mean, it's a very good pickup to have Gostisbehere there. It doesn't hurt when Carolina adds defense. I think they are not like the best team. Yeah. We need a little D. We need a little
God forbid Carolina has too many defensemen.
Oh my god.
They never trust their goaltenders. And I still think that stands this season, so it doesn't hurt to have some good defense up in there.
Not that they kind of need it or anything at the moment, let's be honest.
Yeah, I think Gostisbehere makes a bit of sense here because he's probably going to be adding more to the offense from the back end, right? Like we already know they're pretty strong defensively with their defensemen. So I feel like Shane Gostisbehere can be there to provide the extra like assists and possibly goals depending on the situation.
Yeah, I feel like Carolina's winning.
I was just gonna say what Molly's saying is they're not hurting particularly right now.
Oh no, their defense is killing it right now. Actually, they've got Burns and Chatfield.
Yeah,
they're like just ripping it up.
And Slavin's always good.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love
Slavin. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I will say they had quite the conservative deadline considering how many other teams in the East and even in the Metro went big. They're just like, I'll take a Gostisbehere and Puljujarvi, and I think that's good enough.
That's pretty good. No,
they paid a very reasonable price for them too. Like they didn't give up a lot.
To have that luxury must be nice. Must be nice. And sorry, I accidentally said that they didn't have good defense. I meant they have good defense. It was their goaltending since last year that was
yike. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Blue Jackets? Anyone?
Yep. Fire sale.
Fire sale? You get a pick. You get a. I don't even know.
A lot's happened with
Yeah.
them. Please,
For
I
me,
don't
it's
quite
goalies.
understand.
They sank like a stone.
Yeah.
I will say injuries plagued them very badly. They were very badly hit with injuries, but holy crap, did Columbus tank hard this year.
They literally said, so our goalies, like you give goalies, we give goalies.
They do now at least have the best odds of Connor Bedard. That's something.
That is
Yes,
something.
true.
They got a first rounder for dumping Gavrikov and Korpisalo, who on their own they wouldn't be worth a first round pick necessarily either or, but pair them together, get some picks back. I think that's a good trade, all things considered. They managed to get rid of Jakub Voracek's contract, and even Gustav Nyquist, who's on LTIR basically. He's supposed to be injured all the way up until when the playoffs start. They still managed to get a little something back for him, so.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's good when he's not injured. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
Still worth a little something there. Come on now.
Now though, the Devils,
Interesting.
they're taking a bigger swing.
Oof.
Okay, another W, in my opinion. You don't think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, especially because they're gonna keep Meyer afterwards, right? So he's not just a rental.
No. So the question is, will he sign an extension? They have hopes. Obviously, they're confident that they'll be able to sign him. And he's a solid pickup. Okay, he's an excellent all-around player. Averages around 30 goals per season, and not to mention he's not really shy with assists either. And of course, look at him. He has great physical presence. Come on now.
Is that the new way of how we're saying we like these hockey players? He has a great physical presence. Have you
Look at
seen
his
him?
presence. Come on now.
His
Have you
eyebrows
seen
have
that
a physical
presence?
Yes. No, good on the Devils. Meyer was a hot piece on the table, and they got that ass.
Yep. She
I
was the flashy
approve
acquisition.
of this flashy acquisition.
It's good. It's a good one. The fucking Sharks fans are probably like crying.
Yeah, I mean, we knew it was coming, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, he was a hot piece, so good on the Devils.
For the Islanders, there's not much new to add technically because obviously the Horvat trade was done quite a while ago. I think they paid a decent price for him, all things considered, especially because they re-signed him. Contract could age poorly, obviously, but for now, it's it's worth it for now. And the Pierre Engvall acquisition, of course, right from the Leafs, I think is pretty decent. But otherwise than that, like nothing too fancy.
No.
Is it enough? They're in a wildcard spot right now, so.
It might be enough to make in the playoffs, but will it be enough to sustain in the playoffs?
I mean, the Islanders always play better in the playoffs than they do in the regular
I
season.
know. It's like they conserve all their energy. It's like a Pokemon fucking charging up right before the last battle. Let's go.
When they get to the playoffs, they evolve.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it.
Rentals.
Yeah.
Sugar, do you have a New York?
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
the other one.
See that one is the biggest.
Another W.
Probably the biggest swinger of the entire season.
Thing. That's all I have to add to that. Wait, they got Tarasenko?
Yes. Well, that was a while
You've been
ago.
sick
Actually.
for a bit.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Look, she has been sick. Okay.
It's true. It's true. You have been sick for quite a bit, so we're gonna.
So surprised they have Tarasenko and Patrick Kane.
Yeah, which is surprising
Patrick
because
who?
Patrick who? Candy Cane. The rumors were swirling around for now that Kane may become a Ranger, and that's clearly where Kane wanted to be. But the Rangers ended up acquiring Tarasenko before the trade deadline. So, well, okay, I guess Kane's not in the picture anymore. Maybe it's not possible. And I believe Kane was also psych. And that's the thing. I think Kane was also disappointed. I think he mentioned that he was disappointed in the decision, but it didn't seem to matter because they found a way.
That was so weird, right? Like a player coming out and be like, "Man, I'm disappointed they traded for Tarasenko because that means there's no room left for me."
Psych.
Oh.
Yeah. Look,
Yeah.
they got a good deal for him though. They paid a second rounder and a fourth rounder, and then a random prospect.
Like what?
That's crazy.
Funny. The
Oh,
fuck?
That's the thing though, right? Like the no movement clause for the no trade clause for Patrick Kane basically
Was very
forces their
extensive.
hand where he's like, I only want to go to New York. New York can say, well, okay, fine, we'll give you peanuts for him, and they're like, well, it's better than nothing, you know?
That's what I'm saying. He manifested that shit.
Yeah, yeah. So New York's lucky that they had that opportunity, right? Like a player absolutely wants to go to you, and it's the only option. They have all the control. You can fleece another team just intentionally, and they know it. There's nothing they can do about it.
yeah.
I'm all for people
It's like
screwing
getting
over
robbed at
Blackhawks.
gunpoint. You just have to accept it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It is funny seeing Sammy Blais go back again the other way.
Bye.
They finally got rid of
Ding
Kratstov.
dong.
A lot of picks, but yeah, they're obviously they're in contention to win it. We'll see if it happens, but it's they have a good shot now.
Yeah.
So
Philly.
maybe in the opposite direction, the biggest like whoopee cushion noise, deflated balloon sort of like team at the deadline was probably the Flyers.
Yeah, like what even? Ooh, you got Brendan Lemieux. Well,
Lemieux.
I mean,
Lemieux.
and he's a UFA anyways, right? So
Exactly. So what are they expecting? What are they expecting?
the biggest chat about the Flyers is actually the trade that didn't happen, because there was a lot of chatter about James Van Riemsdyk being traded at the last moment at the trade deadline, and then it was immediately rescinded, and they're like, oh, never mind, Van Riemsdyk is not getting traded.
Yeah.
And he was basically their one big piece to trade the entire deadline. He's a UFA. He's playing decently well. You can retain half of his salary, and a competitive team will take on his services, right? And then, of course, it just doesn't happen, and it fell through. It was so strange and kind of like a failure on the GM.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It was very stupid.
Most of the fans want Chuck Fletcher out, and I agree.
Yeah,
I feel bad for Philly fans because that team seems like it's going nowhere fast.
Yep.
Or faster, I guess. It was already going nowhere fast. Now it's just, still going nowhere fast.
Philly. It's just Philly.
You know what though?
The
Penguins also blew it.
Yeah, the Penguins was kind of a weird one too.
Right?
I feel like they were trying to be clever, but kind of didn't end up being clever.
It gives me the vibe of somebody who felt like they did something because they felt like they had to, but they didn't really want to. So they just made some small moves here and there, and then like in the grand, it seems like a lot, but also it's like nothing.
They just got rid of I don't know, they're just geriatric at this point.
Yeah, that's the weird part too. It's like trading away Teddy Bluger and Brock McGinn, and then you get Granlund, Bonino, Kulikov. Those guys are all older. So
that's what
you have just made the team older.
Yes! They were already known for being the oldest team, right?
Yeah.
Now they just said, well,
the OAP. OA Penguins.
Or maybe
you don't get
they just
senior
wanted
discounts
to
in the
prove
playoffs.
Oh, senior discounts. They get the best deals on the hockey sticks with the geriatric deal.
I think some Penn fans.
He
Yeah,
was
that's bringing back the greatest hits and hoping it works again, huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
gold.
Listen, I get it. You won so many cups and you want to relive that glory day, but this is not how to do it.
Is this their farewell tour?
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh my gosh.
Yoink.
I'm sad to see Bluger go too. I feel like he was my favorite Penguin.
Not me.
The favorite Penguin?
Yeah, I like Teddy Bluger. And I think a lot of Pens fans did too.
Imagine a Penguin named Teddy Bluger.
Well, yeah, you get in with the funny name, and then you stay for a guy who's a decent hockey player, and seems pretty chill overall.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than a hockey player with a amusing name to say out loud, but then is also actually a good hockey player, so you have a reason to keep saying it.
Absolutely.
Bluger.
Bluger. Bluger. Okay.
Should we just quickly move on to the Caps?
Yes, the Caps. Well, enjoy San
They happened, didn't they?
Yeah. I think this was a big surprise for me because although it seemed like it should happen. It's surprising that it did happen. It's basically Washington
Giving.
pulling the plug and admitting we're done for this year.
Yeah.
It's time to sell, and everybody goes, "Oh wow, it's happening." I'm surprised.
What Penguins should be doing, honestly. So, they really gave up some big names up in here. Like,
Mhm.
some
They
good
had a
players.
ton of UFAs, like a ton
Yeah.
of UFAs. So it makes sense that this would be the opportunity to do it.
Yeah. They got themselves some picks and a young defenseman who could grow and be good, and Craig Smith.
Yeah, Craig Smith is just mostly going to be like a position filler.
They got a former Leaf and then this piece of garbage.
He was good in the past. Maybe he can find it again. Who knows?
My garbage.
Yeah. But yeah, I do agree. I think Rasmus Sandin is a good pickup for them. I think it's a smart move.
Yeah.
Looking forward. And it's weird to see all those names leave, though. So many of these guys have been on this team for a long time, especially with Orlov, Eller, and Hathaway.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's very
That's
weird to
interesting.
see them gone.
Well,
And Marcus
they
Johansson,
all-
you know?
yeah,
He's-
Johansson, exactly.
He gets passed around all the time at
Bouncy.
the deadline.
Yeah, he's bouncy. He's a bouncy ball.
Would you
So
like this
where's,
gently used
what's his name?
Johansson?
Galchenyuk. Is he gonna come up?
Exactly. Galley.
Is he still on an AHL contract for the
Yes.
Eagles, or
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
or did he have an
Poor
NHL
baby.
contract?
No, he had an AH. He got shoved down to the AHL, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, is his contract? I don't know if his contract is officially an AHL contract or if it's like a
Girl, I
a
don't
two-way
know.
NHL contract. Yeah.
Oh, maybe a two.
Just as in, like, I don't know if the Avs can call him up or not. That would be the difference, essentially. Yeah.
Oh well, let's end it off there and let's just dive right into the Central Division. Starting off good with an extreme loser team. The Coyotes. Yeah, I have things to say. Let's be real. The Coyotes completely failed. All they got was picks. And honestly, aren't they filled to the tits with picks? Like,
I mean,
do
yeah.
they not already have an entire book filled with picks?
You can never have too many picks.
Yes, you can. Okay. Like, no, they gave away Chitrin, Rossespierre, Stetcher, Richie, Bukestag, and guess what? Well, what did you get? Oh well, we are the lucky winners of Shea Weber's and Voracek's injured selves. Yay!
They're rebuilding though, so they need some injured
Yeah.
players to fix.
That's
The
how
only-
rebuilding works, right?
No. This I
Oh no,
you
that's
can
rehab.
you can argue that yeah, it's good to have picks, but I think they could have started building something. Like, the only funny thing about this is the Richie brothers just getting fucking swapped.
Oh yeah, Brett Ritchie and Nick Ritchie got swapped in a trade.
That's so funny to me.
You
Yo,
missed that,
bro.
but
Here's the
Molly
keys
does.
to my house.
I'm dying.
That's the first time in NHL history that brothers have been swapped in a trade, so that's cool.
Pretty funny. It's pretty funny, yeah.
Yeah.
They just swap keys to each other's house too, probably, right? And wives. They're the same, right?
Oh my god, I'm dying. Stop.
So I have a question for you too, if you just want to take a guess out of curiosity. I'm looking at the draft picks for the Coyotes that they have in the first, second, and third rounds for the next 3 drafts.
Yeah.
So the next three drafts, the first 3 rounds, how many picks in totals do you think they have amassed?
Oh,
Can't
like
count.
at least like 15, 20.
What do you think, Molly?
Like that they have now in like IRL, like
Yep.
coming up for their picky picks.
For the next, the first 3 rounds for the next 3 years.
Okay, no.
Oh, I want to say they've secured probably all of them.
30.
Wow, Chanel's overshooting actually. Yeah, they've got 22.
What the fuck?
That's
I'm
nuts.
saying.
A lot of them too. Like, obviously not as many in the first round, but knowing them, they're probably going to acquire more as time goes on. But they have a ton in the second round and the third round.
This feels like a movie. Like, starting from scratch there. Like a brand new team almost. And let's not even use recycled NHL players. No, let's grab them from, the newbies. All the newbies.
I think it makes sense to get a lot of picks. I think I wish they would have gotten more actual prospects, because prospects, at least you know a bit more what you're getting than a pick. A pick is still a bit of a lottery ticket. And Jacob Chikrin, we were hoping they would get more for that. They were hoping they would get more for that. Ends up being a bit not as impressive as probably you could have expected, but whatever. They finally moved on. I think what bugs a lot of people, and I agree with, is the acquisition of Voracek and Weber. Obviously, it's just contracts for guys who are not playing this year and possibly never again. And it's just a way of artificially inflating their cap number, right? Because we always talk about the max for the cap, but there's a minimum too that you have to meet. And a team like Arizona is basically cheating the system in the opposite direction by having contracts of guys who aren't playing anymore, right? Just to artificially move that up.
Yep.
Not a fan.
Not a fan either. And I'm also not a fan with Chicago. I'm not a fan of Chicago.
I like how Chicago have been trading around future prospects or future considerations or whatever. They're like, oh, we'll have this player, but you can have our future. Like, what the fuck does that mean?
The future's grim.
The future is grim. Yeah. What is going on?
Well, a
Like,
rebuild.
Yeah, but they grabbed a lot of fucking people too, right? Like,
Mm.
holy moly.
Lots of picks. I feel like a lot of the random guys that they picked up are mostly AHLers or prospects that will never get to see the light of day.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I agree with that. I don't even know half of these freaking people.
Yeah. Like, out of all the guys, like, if anything, I might see Joey Anderson maybe getting to shine there. Like I said,
Yes.
Bjork might have a chance to do better. I could see Austin Wagner maybe having a shot. And the prospects, prospects are always kind of like a coin flip depending on the situation. But the picks are where it's at, really. That's what they were going for.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Because if their top NHLer is going to be Joey Anderson and Zaitsev was an AHLer like yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a cap dump, right? They just took it for the pick, so.
Anyways, I don't got much to say about the Blue Hawks. Oh, the Black Hawks, the Green Hawks. I don't know.
On their part. With Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews.
Okay, what?
Because, like, I know they were stuck in a way. Those Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews have no trade clauses. They can't be traded, right?
Yeah.
But they're going to be UFAs. You want to trade them. Teams will take them. You can make some good profit off of that in terms of assets. And they got unlucky with Toews because he's hurt. And then Patrick Kane, obviously, they kind of get stuck into a corner because he only wants to go to New York. So in the end, it seemed like they could have gotten a lot more assets back, but because of circumstances, kind of outside of their control, unfortunately, they don't get much back.
Yeah. I think Molly wants to talk about her abs.
I'm sorry, Molly. I just had to crap on the Blackhawks a little bit longer.
We had to just add some time
to be fair,
that.
They did give us back Jack Johnson.
Yes,
yeah,
they did.
I was wondering how you'd feel about that.
I like Jack Johnson, okay? Yeah, he's only been with the Abs for like the last season, 2021-22 season, and he got the cup. And he's like not an Av before that, but he's part of the Fama Jam now. I'm happy. I know a lot of Colorado fans are like, he's back. So we're happy.
It's defense insurance, right? Like, he doesn't have to play every game, but it's good to have in case.
And it's interesting we got Lars.
Lars,
Ellers.
And we also gained a goalie. Is that right?
Yeah. Kincaid would probably be like your third option, or what's the depth chart for the goaltending in Colorado look like right now? You've got Georgiev, Francouz.
I mean, it's Frankie.
Is that it?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
So I guess he would be then the third goaltender at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a Kincaid fan.
It's insurance, right?
Like, I can fuck with that.
Yeah, I mean he's not the best in the whole world, but he's had streaks.
He's here.
He's serviceable in a pinch, I guess.
He was decent with the Devils, He was.
So, I forgot. The Colorado Avalanche still have Jonas Johansson on under contract. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we do. And we've still got Galchenyuk on an NHL contract.
Okay, there we go.
There you go. Now, there's your answer.
Yeah, we still got him. It's fine. I'm
It's
happy.
Gally.
So overall, pretty quiet deadline for Colorado, honestly. Eh?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering where they're heading because similar to the Panthers, you know, they were hot. I mean, they won the fucking cup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
We won the
The
cup.
West is a lot weaker,
Yeah.
though. I don't see Colorado missing the playoffs.
no.
I can.
I mean, almost everybody beneath Colorado has given up, except for like Calgary, I guess.
That's true. You know what? You're lucky. We have too many people trying on our side.
Yeah, a lot of people in the West understood that they're out and just gave up.
They're like, oh yeah, no.
You
Yeah.
take it. You take it. You go ahead. No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
please, you go ahead.
Can we talk about other teams? Wow,
Yeah.
that
Oh, we
sounds
can?
bad.
Like Dallas?
Dallas.
They got Domi.
Yeah, Max Domi and Dadonov.
Ooh, okay.
It makes sense. They just need to increase their scoring because their defense and goaltending is usually already good enough, right? It's pretty
Eh,
straightforward.
They're doing really well in
I
their
say
division.
that they're literally 5th in the league right now. Like overall.
Yeah, but that's the weird part. They're first in the Central.
I know.
They're first in the West.
They are first in the West. It's
Go
weird, isn't it?
Dallas. I don't like this.
The West is a little sad this year.
That's the thing.
Don't talk to me.
They're not.
They
They're
did.
not. Yeah, they're not. Yeah.
They did manage to get rid of Anton Hudobin's contract, so that's something that helps them.
Bless their hearts.
Yeah. Just still don't talk to me about the West.
Oh, well, we
Yeah.
still got some to go.
Fortunately, we're still in the West.
And
Oh,
you're
just-
I mean, don't you have respect for the next team, the Wild?
I do have respect for the Wild. Doesn't mean I like them.
Fair enough. It's like me in Boston, you know. I get it. Well,
yeah.
they've got Klingberg.
Yeah.
So
pretty decent defense actually.
pretty
And they
good,
need it.
yeah.
I feel like Minnesota are really inconsistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like really
They look
inconsistent.
good sometimes, and then it gets real sad.
Yeah. Like they look good and then they're like, what the fuck is that? What
Marcus
is that?
Johansson, right? Also picked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And he's been bouncing too, hasn't he? Because he was
Oh
from
my god, I feel like
he was
every
from the
deadline.
Preds. Yeah. He's everywhere.
Oh my god, who
I've
hasn't
been
he played for at this
everywhere,
point?
man.
The Caps, the Devils, the Bruins, the Caps again. Has he played for
Yeah.
Minnesota before or not, or am I just misremembering?
I'm not sure, honestly. I couldn't tell you.
If you told me he
Um,
played for a team and I wasn't sure, I'd just believe you and I wouldn't look it up, right? Like
Yeah. Oh, that guy, yeah. True.
they're taking a risk on Nyquist because he's supposed to be injured all the way up until the playoffs. So then theoretically he would start during the playoffs, which is kind of risky, obviously. But that means you also don't have to worry about his cap money at all, which is good for Minnesota because they're
That's
cap
true.
strapped.
Yeah.
The thing that I find really strange about their moves is that at first, when the trades were really starting to roll in, the first two trades that Minnesota did were not to acquire players, but instead act as a third party in a three-way trade to retain money for other teams' contracts and then get like small draft picks back, like a fourth and a fifth. They retained money on Ryan O'Reilly deal and they retained money on Dmitry Orlov. And I was very confused because like they're already cash strapped. And then they need to get better. The first moves they do is just take in money for picks. It's like, okay.
Yeah, not quite sure what's going on there.
Yeah, they did eventually get guys to improve at least, but
Yeah.
you know, it was
See how
a
well that
weird
goes
one
for
for
them.
Minnesota.
They're
I'm not
already
too
in the
sure.
playoffs, so
Yeah, but they don't feel like super improved either, though.
no.
They're like
But-
marginally improved.
Marginally improved, yeah.
The Preds are kind of improved.
Conspiracy.
I mean,
The Preds
Conspiracy.
it's crazy.
Conspiracy.
they got Barry, yo.
I don't know how I feel about that. Barry's a good
It's
guy.
weird.
Predators are not a good guy team.
I was surprised that the Oilers gave him away.
I'm surprised a lot. I
And
don't
they got
understand.
Footy there too.
Footy.
Yep, they got Cal Footy.
Yeah. It's weird.
I feel like
Hmm.
this is although the year went poorly for Nashville, I think this is the best case
This is
scenario for
good,
the trade
yeah.
deadline. I don't know if you heard the news yet or not, Molly, but the GM of the Nashville Predators, David Poile, is officially going to retire at the end of the year. He's been the only general manager the team has ever had since their inception. When they came in the league, I want to say
God.
98.
It's impressive. Yeah, it's impressive.
And the guy
And he
who's
hasn't been
replacing,
ousted?
nope, never.
No,
Wow.
He's the longest running GM in I think NHL history.
it gets
actually.
better. Keep going. Keep going.
So his replacement is going to be Barry Trotz.
Barry
Oh.
fucking Trotz.
He's taking on his first job as a GM in
Yeah.
the team he used
Oh.
to coach all those years ago.
Isn't that wild?
No, it's Predators, but yeah.
Jesus.
So
And
I
that
think
makes
this is
sense
good.
now.
I think this is a good situation for them right now because since he's going to be leaving David Poile and Barry Trotz gets to maybe have like a fresh start with the team and tweak it to his liking. The fact that Poile just got rid of a bunch of guys and acquired a ton of picks, I think was probably the right approach because now they have a lot of salary free to sort of build the team in a new direction in the next season,
The new
and with
Trocky era.
all the draft assets, right? Like
Mhm.
new era.
Yeah,
Oh.
new era. New
Yeah.
era, new me.
I think they did a great job, and fuck the haul they got for Tanner Jeannot, that's crazy. The amount of picks they got.
They have a shit ton of picks. I know. That was
Yeah.
wild for sure.
I feel like
That's
maybe they were really
conspiracy.
hesitant. They were
That's what
probably
she's
really
saying.
hesitant to let him go.
I bet you that there was some hanky panky in there as well.
Not some hanky panky, some footy.
Like Molly, let's say somebody came to you and said, "I want your dog. I'll give you $20 for it."
No.
And you're like, "Hell no, I love that dog." And then they're like, "I'll give you 100."
No.
You're like, "No." And then you're like,
no.
1,000, 10,000, a million.
No.
Like at a certain point, like the price, they're just like, "Okay, well, you know what? Maybe I
My
can give him
dog
up for
is
that."
priceless. Don't you dare say I'd get
Now
rid of
you-
my dog.
You used a
Ooh.
bad
I'm just saying, I
example.
think they really didn't want to get rid of Jeannot, but for the price offered, it was too good not to, right?
Yeah,
If
they
you
kept
say
pushing.
so. If you say so. What about the
Push.
Blues? They've gotten rid of a
Blues.
load of people, haven't they? Tarasenko, O'Reilly.
I
That's
think
who I really
just
care
like
about.
Keeping
Washington,
Washington, they realized early on
Mhm.
that they needed to get out of the playoff hunt and start selling, and they did it early enough, and I think they did a good job of really getting back some assets for it.
Yeah, Sammy Blais, good, and Verana. Obviously, we've already talked about Verana. Hopefully, he can.
Yeah, it's funny seeing
Yeah.
Blair back after everything. I feel like he'll
Yeah.
play better in St. Louis than he did in New York.
Yeah, I mean, it's familiar,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Different team though.
It also makes the Pavel
Yeah.
Buchnevich trade kind of invalidated and kind of a loss for the New York Rangers in a way, which is kind of funny. If anybody that doesn't remember, the St. Louis and the Rangers traded Sammy Blais for Pavel Buchnevich, and Buchnevich has still been a relatively good player, while Sammy Blais really struggled with the
I went
Rangers.
Sammy Blur.
Blais. And now he's back, so it's kind of like full circle. It is funny.
That's true. That's kind of funny. It's like, whatever. It was a loss.
But yeah.
Come back home.
It really is an end of an era there, though, with Tarasenko and O'Reilly gone, especially.
No, exactly.
Like,
yeah, they were
that
big.
Stanley Cup team is no longer.
Exactly. Bye.
It's wild.
Bye. Saw that, but
Last team in the Central.
the Jets.
Winnipeg.
They added Nino. I love Nino.
Need a
He's
reader.
good. He's
No,
good.
he's good.
Yeah.
They actually did pretty okay for they were just kind of like, I guess we should trade.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
always kind of conservative
Yeah.
at the deadline,
It was barely
Yeah.
anything, but
Yeah.
two names that are pretty notable, like Niederreiter and Nemesnikov. So
Yeah.
it's not terrible.
I think Nemesnikov, I might be mistaken, but I want to say he was in Dallas at the same time as when they still had Coach Rick Bowness, if I remember
I don't know.
correctly.
Why would I know that?
Might be wrong. No, but I'm just saying if that's the case, then at least, he knows the coach. That's something.
Yeah, probably. He's 30 years old, so I'm assuming that you're right.
Because it was recent. I just don't remember when exactly. But Niederreiter has, I think, a few more years left on his contract. So it's not just a rental, so that's good for them. Winnipeg really struggles getting players, especially in free agency. So I think
Always.
trading for a guy at a reasonable price and that will actually have to stick around, right? You're like, sorry, Nino, we're forcing you to stay here.
Yep.
But
Wow.
Last division. Specifically the Pacific. Sorry. Not funny. Cool. Should we duck right in?
yeah.
Should slide right in
I'm
on
so
her.
sorry, that was and I'm
Well, you're a
timing a
quack.
bad time.
Are you okay?
No. Oh no, I'm just having an aneurysm, I'm pretty sure.
She's looking at the Ducks trade deadline and it's making her break.
Like what? They lost Klimberg? They didn't have Klim. Did they have Klim?
Yeah,
What?
this was always kind of the plan, is sign him for 1 year and trade him at the deadline to get assets back.
Oh, true.
But his season was pretty poor and the Duck season was
Mm.
pretty poor, and I think the amount of return they could have gotten for him, when you think about like back at the beginning of the season versus how it eventually went at the trade deadline, it definitely he went down in value over the year, that's for sure.
Mm.
It feels like a whole lot of nothing was traded with the Ducks in terms of what they sent out and got back. Just a bunch of random prospects. Some of them are decent, but a lot of it is kind of just nothings, and then a few middle picks, and cool. That's about it.
Yeah.
Nothing to write home
Whatever.
about.
Nope.
It's all
And
good.
I think it's kind of the same for Calgary.
Yeah. Well,
They did the Richie slide.
Yeah, the Richie slide. Shoop.
Slide to the Brett, slide to the Nick.
They have Hunt though. I mean, Hunt's a good
like 13th forward.
you know.
I think
That's
Stetro
her.
is a good addition on D. Yeah.
Dryden Hunt. I was sorry. I thought Dryden Hunt was a prospect, but I'm wrong. Sorry. I was thinking of someone else, or not even. I just was not thinking.
You're killing me.
The Flames are definitely, like, I think the team in the West that is probably the only one out of the playoffs still trying to make it. Like, they definitely don't want to lose. There's no way they want to tank. But at the same time, they didn't really do anything to improve. Like, nothing drastic anyways, that's for sure.
No.
So, yeah, this was probably, like, the shyest team, aside from Florida, I guess. For me, it feels like it's just kind of, like, picking in the middle where you're at and just letting the chips fall where they do.
Yes.
Yeah. I'd be disappointed if I was a Calgary fan right now.
I would be very disappointed. They're nor here nor there.
Had high hopes. They've been dashed. Tarnished.
Down in flames, maybe you could say.
Down in
Oh,
flames.
that
That's
was,
good.
That was good.
Did you say that pun was fire?
Now the goddamn Oilers.
All this is gonna get edited out.
They kind of tick me off for no reason other than their face on their face. Like,
I'm glad Barry has left them in some ways. But also I wanted him to do well, and the Oilers were kind of doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, I think although the Oilers didn't do much at the deadline, I do like the move of acquiring Ekholm, because Barry does add to the offense, but offense is not really their issue. They do sometimes have problems with defense, and Ekholm is a really solid defensive defenseman, and he has a decent amount of term left on his deal. Like, they will be able to keep him around at a controlled cost.
I actually agree with you.
I like this move for the Oilers.
We already have McDavid. We already have all those good peoples to score.
I don't think it's enough though.
Adds, but yeah, they need more defensive defensemen. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think they would have needed 2 goaltending insurance.
Yeah, that would have been a good idea.
But yeah.
That's where they really need help there, just like us.
Did you see the press conference, or I don't know if you heard about it, where the Oilers GM Ken Holland was basically complaining how he couldn't do much because they're up to the cap, but that's because they spend to the cap, but they have to spend to the cap, or to make the team good, but then they can't make the team better because there's no cap.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm confused with the Oilers. They seem to be getting better, but then when I look at them, they're in the same position they were before. So I'm very confused, but yeah.
They've had hot streaks and cold streaks throughout the season.
They really do. Yeah. All right. The Kings. Isn't that the up-and-comers?
The up-and-comers who... I don't know why they've done this.
Yeah, so the big shock, I remember it happened late at night.
I know. Oh my gosh, true. Quick.
I was checking the news, I think at like 1 a.m. after the games, and I was just like, wait a minute, what?
That's so fucked.
That was
No.
weird.
No.
The thing
No.
is, on paper, I think it was a good trade because they gave up Quick, a first and a third. In exchange, you get Jonas Korpisalo and Vladislav Gavrikov, right? Gavrikov
Yeah.
is a solid defenseman.
Can you say that
Korpisalo,
again, just a bit slower?
I got it.
Vladislav Gavrikov, and Jonas Korpisalo?
Oh my god.
Vladislav Gavrikov. Gaviscon?
Uh,
No. You're right. Yes, it's good, but morally it's wrong.
yeah, it's
In
like
my
on paper, in terms of numbers, it's good. On a human level, on a like a personal player level, it's
Shitty.
tough. It's tough,
Just
man.
let him retire there. This when I look at Quick in my mind, I think LA Kings.
So my understanding of it is that obviously they needed to improve their goaltending. It was really rough this year, so Korpisalo makes sense, and you get Gavrikov. He's really good. You give away your first round pick and your third. I don't think Columbus actually wanted Jonathan Quick, but to make the money of the trade work for the cap to work, LA had to dump a contract, and that was Jonathan Quick.
It's rough.
So he really does
Rough.
leave because of cap reasons in that
This
case.
is
That
And
almost as
sucks.
bad as what Minnesota did.
Oh
what
yeah.
I
with
find it,
them,
oh yeah, the buyouts am I. What I find amusing though is that since Columbus knows that like it's an awkward situation and Quick didn't really want to play there anyways, they did manage to flip him to Vegas,
That's true.
which we'll
He's
talk
in
about
Vegas
later.
now. Yeah.
But there's some potential spice there.
I'm very happy that they at least said, "Listen, you want to play somewhere." Yeah, we'll talk about that later, but yeah.
Mm.
Sharks.
Sharks.
Where
What? Why?
they
They got quite the haul for
they
Timo
got
Meyer, right?
quite the haul.
They-
Yeah.
They did. To be, they got a yes.
Yeah.
It's
So
a lot.
I feel like Janssen's kind of a dump in because it hasn't been going well in his contract. They needed to get rid of it. But everybody else that they got in the trade, Fabian Zetterlin is a good young player still. I don't know how you pronounce it. Nikita Hutchuk and Shakir Mohammedullin.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, Nikita Hutchuk and Shakir Mohammedullin. I'm not sure if I'm 100% correct on that pronunciation, but
That sounds
They're-
good. Yeah.
they're both solid prospects, and then you get the first rounder, second rounder, so on and so forth. I think that's a really good haul, all things considered. The fact that they knew they were going to get rid of Timo Meyer, this could help them rebuild in the future. Hopefully,
I was gonna say it's a rebuilding move because there's only
Yeah.
2 real NHLers up in there
yeah.
in that trade, but it's a good
Yeah.
build. They need to rebuild. Period.
And aside from Meyer, all the other names they dumped weren't really any to write home about. Like nothing really of value. So it's more just like moving out contracts on, just not really necessary. Like I think they gained a lot. I think it would have been cool if they could have managed to trade Erik Karlsson because this would be the time to trade him. He's having his best year ever,
Oh my gosh,
and
right?
that money is too much for them. This would be the time to pull it off. But
don't
my
want it.
guess would be that it's probably going to happen in the off season, if it does at all.
Yeah. Well, that will be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Carlson shipped off again.
We can just graze over Seattle real quick. It's a big yawn.
Yeah.
Oh, bother.
Here's
Yeah.
a 4th round pick. Give me that guy there.
So I didn't even know if I should include this because it literally happened like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Like they just acquired Jacob Megna for a 4th, and that's it. Okay, cool.
They popped in, they popped out. Let's move on.
I get it. Seattle's still a new team. They're building, so they don't want to give up a lot of stuff, even though the team is performing above expectations. But it would have been interesting for them to at least like get one player to
yeah,
like
because
improve a
they
position.
have stuff to
to
use.
Yeah,
in their
maybe like
favor, but
one
whatever.
decent forward, one decent defenseman, one decent goaltender, whatever position you feel like you want to tackle, and you go out and you get a decent like guy to fill in that line, and you go, okay, cool, we made a little bit of an improvement.
The Nucks.
Oh boy, the Nucks.
Oh god.
Every time we say the Canucks,
We're
it
just there
always.
like, oh no.
Every
That
year, there's one team that's going through their own sort of like long, epic soap opera. The Canucks it's them this year.
It is.
What do you mean
them.
this year?
Well, okay,
It
this
had
year more
last
than
year.
This is the most dramatic soap opera year they've had so
Mhm.
far.
Okay, I'll
Yet they
take
still want to
that.
kick our ass.
They're
They
like a
still
little
kick our
TV
ass.
novella
Yeah.
right at the moment.
Mhm.
Like maybe last year we talked a bit more about, you know, the shit going on with the Coyotes and, you know, some other teams, and like Vancouver's always in the conversation, of course, but like this one is it's a special year for the Canucks.
It
Yeah.
is. Their fans. Okay, guys. If there's any Canucks fan, I love you guys. You're so funny. They're so funny, guys. If you just look at their Twitter posts, they're like, "R.I.P. another Canucks game tonight."
My sympathies to all of you.
Like even when we suck, I'm never like, "Unfortunately, there's a game." It's too funny. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh no, they're playing. Fuck.
Nah, better put my
So
jersey on.
their actual trade deadline moves are kind of weird because I think okay, first off, I think it really goes back to a problem in retrospect with the Bo Horvat trade where I mean the problem actually goes back to when they signed JT Miller because they re-signed JT Miller to an amount of money that they could have probably signed Bo Horvat to. But then in the end, because one is signed and one is not, and then Bo Horvat's having a better year, Bo Horvat has to get traded, and JT Miller stays instead. When it could have absolutely been the opposite. They could have kept Bo Horvat, sign him, and even if they have a shit year, well, then JT Miller is going to be a UFA, and you can trade him for picks, prospects, whatever, you know, something. And it could have made for a lot more of a. It would have been better knowing that next year you're going in, you still have Horvat, and you can figure stuff out from there. But instead, Horvat has to go, and JT Miller now is stuck here. And there were even rumors that teams were offering trade, like they were entertaining trades offers for JT Miller and stuff, but only involving picks. Same for Connor Garland, I believe. And from all of what the insiders were saying, it seemed that Vancouver was not willing to trade away those guys for picks. They wanted hockey players back in exchange, as if like, no, we're gonna try next year. So like, don't give me picks, give me guys to play now.
Yeah. Look how well that turned out, huh?
It's like denialism, you know?
Yeah. No,
And
there's
then
something.
the one that baffled me the most was so in the Bo Horvat trade, right? They acquired Anthony Beauvillier and Aatu Ratu, which I think are good choices. I think Beauvillier is a decent player. Ratu's a good prospect. So all good there. And then you get, you know, New York's first round pick, which actually was pretty, I think, interesting considering that New York still had a chance of missing the playoffs. That would be a prime pick right there. The problem is that they decided to take that first round pick and say, no, we're not going to use it to draft. We're going to send it to Detroit to acquire Philip Roenick and give them a second pick also on top of that. What the? Hronik's a decent defenseman. He signed for the next few years, so we know what's going on with him. That's not to necessarily say he's a bad addition, but like they had a extra first round pick for this year. Why are you not using it? Why are you not drafting? This seems like just this team is frustrating. I would be pretty pissed if I was a Vancouver fan right now seeing that trade happen.
Oh, I'm sure they're desensitized at this point. So
Yeah, a lot of apathy and resigned, sort of like, oh yeah, well,
Bring me
there
into
you go.
pillows.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I can
Well,
feel that one.
Jesse had a lot of feels about this one, so
Yeah, sorry, Vancouver was like a little bewildering because you can tell it seems like they don't fully know. They've got like 1 foot in a rebuild and 1 foot in like playoff contention next year. And some of their moves go in one direction, some of their moves go in the other direction. So you end up with a conflicting sort of approach. And it's the same shit they've been doing for a while now. They keep trying to make the playoffs while not improving, and then half-heartedly throw stuff away for picks and then never commit to a rebuild, and then you just end up in that same cycle of mediocrity over and over again.
Bless them. Should we go on to the Knights? Put that one to bed.
yeah, put that one RIP. Let's move on to the Knights. Yeah, the last team are the Golden Knights, and they made things.
They got Bluger and Quick.
And Barbashev.
Yeah, I
And
like the addition of
Barbashev.
Barbashev for them. I think
Yeah, that's a
he
good one.
fits for that team.
Interesting.
They had to dump Shea Weber's contract too.
Yeah, they dunked Weber to fucking Coyotes though.
Yeah, it's where all the dead contracts go.
Apparently.
That's
With
just it's horrible.
And I just see little Michael Hutchison just, going through the league slowly and quietly. It's funny to me.
I know with the Quick's play lately, it's not going amazing. So like, I don't
No,
expect
it's
him to
not.
necessarily get too much ice time with the Golden Knights.
No.
But if through some circumstances we get a situation where Vegas can play LA in the playoffs and Quick is in net for Vegas and they win, it would just be crazy. It would be so crazy.
That would be so good for him.
It's very unlikely to
Wow.
happen.
No, it's not gonna happen. But if it did.
You know, if we want to see some chaos happen.
But also, I just gotta say, Dyson Mayo. His name is Mayo.
See, I told you it's fun to have players with fun names, right?
Mayonnaise. Okay.
Mayonnaise.
And that's how we end the podcast.
The Golden Knights are calling up Mayo. Okay, before we go, tell me, girls, who do you think is your biggest winner for the deadline and your biggest loser for the deadline?
Ooh. Boston's the winner.
Boston's
And-
definitely.
Yeah, I think Boston's the winner. And for a loser for my end, I'm gonna go with the Coyotes. Sorry.
I think the Blue Jackets kind of fucked it.
Yep. I think they're
I'll
all
say
fair.
for me, I think my biggest winner for the deadline is the Preds in terms of as a seller, how much they got
Conspiracy.
and how much they're setting themselves up for the
You're
short-term
pissing
future.
her off.
I'm gonna say this every time. Sorry, conspiracy.
And for me, I think the worst trade deadline is probably the Flyers because they should be rebuilding, they should be selling, they should be trying to get stuff back, and instead it was just a big fart.
A big fart.
Big
Yep,
fart. You heard it here, folks.
We had some farts in the trade deadline and we had some W's, you know.
Yeah, wins and farts. That's how it goes.
Let's just say it was a very eventful trade deadline. Normally it's quite average. This was wild, and let's just say I didn't pay attention day of because there wasn't much going on.
Yeah.
So
I was on the couch
Yeah.
watching the trade deadline coverage on TV the whole time. It's just like, man, nothing's happening, and they're just trying to fill airtime with so many bits and conversations that are just kind of like, okay, whatever.
oh my gosh, true.
We're watching TSN, and they did a fake draft for Connor Bedard to see who fake draft lottery, see who would get Connor Bedard.
Connor Bedard's like,
Was it a
His
country
best
music video
weapon.
song
yeah.
for Connor Bedard? Oh my god.
Oh, the song for Connor
Yeah.
Bedard. I can't. Molly, when you have the time, go look at that, or don't. Don't waste your time.
You know what? I will.
You should. It's up your alley, honestly.
Nice.
Anyways, that is the end of this fantastic annual trade deadline podcast episode.
Yay! Finalement.
Indeed. So we will see you next week for whatever. I guess it's just going to be your normal news. Finally.
How are the trades settling in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's just a grind until playoff time, basically.
That's right. It's gonna be fun, guys. It's gonna be fun. So
Oof.
thank you so much for listening. As usual, please like, comment, subscribe, and share if you can. Follow us on Twitter at @thishockeypod, or find us individually at @itsjust_Molly and @ChannelleLV. And we hope to catch you next time. Bye.